Okay, we are going to do a short walkthrough for how a coach or somebody else in the circle of care can create an athlete's profile and enter their health history. We've heard from coach feedback that this is often the most realistic option for community clubs, especially for those athletes who have limited digital access or live in group homes or might not have good circle of care support in their life for whatever reason. Before going through this process, it is super important that the coach search the portal or confirm with the athlete or family to make sure that a profile has not already been created. We want to make sure we do not have duplicate records. All right, so the first step is going to make sure you're going to the portal website. So again, that is portals.specialolympics.org. Definitely encourage you to bookmark that website. It is going to be something you're using often. All right, you will log into your account. This is the same account that you have been using since last year to manage your own coach certifications. All right, so you're going to start by going into My Participants. Your page might look a little bit different when you log in, right? It might default to the volunteer zone. In that case, you're going to want to still go up here, go into your coach zone. You can either click Manage My Participants here, this little silhouette, or you can click at My Participants at the top. All right, so this is going to be where you can register a new participant. Again, before doing this, you want to make sure that they do not already have a profile in the system. Right, so people who might already have profiles, if they were active at Fall State Games where we did the portal, if they went to Javits, right, that was a requirement, or if they're part of another training club. So, for example, if you have a basketball team, but you have an athlete who's also part of a swim team, make sure you're talking with the athlete, with their other coaches, with their family, right? Whoever is in their life and helps them manage paperwork, double check to see if they already have a profile. When in doubt, reach out to our office, but we want to try to make sure that we're not creating duplicate profiles. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a fake person in here. I'll use my own information. I'm going to give a fake birthday just because the internet's a scary place. All right, so do I receive email on behalf of this person? Essentially, what that question is asking is, does this person have an email address of their own? If they do, right, you're going to put no, right? If they do not, and you're the only person that receives emails for them, you're going to hit yes. This question over here, this participant requires a parent or guardian to complete forms on their behalf. This question is asking about legality and not what support they need. So we know a lot of our athletes may need help reading forms, but they do have the legal authority to sign for themselves, right? They are their own guardian. If an athlete is their own guardian, leave this box unchecked. Even if you as a coach are helping them read through the forms, this is just about, guardianship. So you would put their email address in there. Again, this information that you're putting here is for the athlete's contact information. So make sure you are putting their phone number in here, not your own. Same thing for their address. It's important that we have addresses, athletes. Sorry, I can't talk and type at the same time. It's important that we have athletes' contact information for a couple of reasons. One, we want to make sure that we know where are our athletes actually living? We get funding sometimes from city council or whatever. We want to know where they actually live. Don't worry. We are very, very, very rarely sending anything directly to athletes. But please do put an authentic, accurate email or physical address for your athletes, including that zip code. This is emergency contact name. Ideally, it is somebody not yourself. So that in case of emergency at a Special Olympics Games, right, we want to make sure that we have somebody that we can contact. So who would you as a coach call in case of an emergency at a Special Olympics event? Because theoretically, you as a coach are already at the Special Olympics event, so we want to make sure we have a contact information of somebody else. I'm going to just put Diane's information for the sake of example. These fields are optional. Okay, so you have now created their profile. Okay, I'll give that a second to process. All right, so only a few people show up on each page. So you see I put myself in, it's not showing up. Got to go ahead and go to the second page. This health history is showing as incomplete. So I'm going to click that. I can either click this blue line where it says incomplete, or I can click this arrow and go to checklist. I like the easy way. I'm going to go straight to the health history, click on incomplete. It will allow me to edit that form, and I'm going to go through the health history questions. Right? It's going to take you through one question at a time, just like it would an athlete, just like it would that athlete's circle of care. It's really important, right? You can start with an old medical that you have. It's really important that you're speaking with the athlete, speaking with their circle of care, making sure that the information on that old medical or whatever you have is still accurate, up to date. This is where it's great. You can take information from, if they live in a group home, you can take a printout of their meds or a printout of whatever you get from the agency, right? It doesn't have to be on Special Olympics paperwork, and submit that information here, right? You're going to add condition, right? This is the question of why are they eligible to be a Special Olympics athlete? There's a few options here. You can also put other or unknown. If you're putting other or unknown, we ask for a description of what that other is. It's not required, but we are asking just so we have the full picture of details. This next series of questions, if it does not apply to your athlete, you're just going to hit save and continue. So for the sake of example, my athlete Lindsay Coyle in this situation, I don't use any mobility devices. Save and continue. I don't use any lifestyle aids, or let's go ahead. I wear glasses. Fake me wears glasses. So we're going to go ahead and put I wear glasses. If you accidentally add one, you can just hit that arrow, deactivate. Communication devices, you can see these options here. One piece of feedback that we have heard is a cochlear implant is not listed here. We are working on seeing if we can get that adjusted, but for the time being, if you have an athlete who uses a cochlear implant, just select hearing aid. We know they are not the same thing, but that's going to give us the closest possible answer at this time. And this is true even if you should be putting these down, even if they are not wearing them for competition, just so that we know and you and other coaches would know, what are those devices, mobility, communication, any of those that an athlete has. Excuse me. Right? Do we have any dietary requirement? I'm going to go ahead and pause. You don't need to see me go through all of this. I'm going to skip ahead. Okay, I skipped ahead through a bunch of questions, but I did want to make sure to cover this medication section because this does throw some people off. So for the medication, you do need to put it into the separate fields, right? So in this case, levothyroxine, 125 micrograms, 1 time a day. It does need to be broken out. You would do that for whatever medications the athlete takes, anything over the counter, anything prescriptions. You would list out everything there. Okay, so continuing to answer some questions, again, on behalf of the athlete. So if there's anything you're not sure about, have a conversation with the athlete, have a conversation with their legal guardian. So for things like refusal of medical care. Then at the end, it will pull up all of your answers. So you'll be able to double check, make sure that everything that you put in there was accurate. Oh, do you have diabetes? I shouldn't have put yes there. I don't have diabetes. Okay, I'm going to change that to no. Right? You have a chance to check all those answers. Save and continue. All right, then it will bring you to the health history and release form. There are 2 options here. You can do a sign e-form if you are there with the athlete, or if you have their legal guardian, or you can do a manual sign. Right? It depends on what is going to work better for you as a coach, for your athletes, and it's going to depend on what their guardianship situation is. It is important that you clarify with your athlete or their circle of care who is legally able to sign for them before you make these signatures. Many of our athletes are able to legally sign for themselves, but many of our athletes also are not able to legally sign for themselves. That is not something that Special Olympics can determine. So you do need to clarify with your athlete and the people in their lives to see who is able to sign for themselves versus who is not. For the manual signature, you can click on that. I know that's been successful for a lot of our coaches. You'll download the form. It's going to take a second, and it will give you a PDF of all of the information that you put into the system and give you an opportunity to print that off. You can then take it to your athlete, take it at practice, whatever works, and have them sign, or take it to their guardian, whatever the situation may be. Right? So it pulls this up. Do not do it multiple times. It will keep generating multiple duplicate forms, and that can confuse the system. Right? So it pulls that up. You can see, right, again, here's all the information. You can print this out, and they would just need to sign here, right, in the athlete signature, or if they are not able to legally sign for themselves, their guardian would sign down below. Again, make sure you're clarifying whether they can sign for themselves or not. It's not the same for every athlete. The question I get, why can't we just upload everything from the get-go? And that is because if this is just updated or uploaded with the information, we can't actually pull all of these fields, so we don't know, that important information. We want to make sure for the safety of all of our athletes that our system is showing, right? Who are the athletes who have allergies? Who are the athletes who have heart conditions? All of that information. So please be sure that, if you see anything on this PDF, you're not just scratching out and making the edit here. You are going back into the system and making that change there as well. All right, so you would print that out, sign it, and then upload it again. Right, you would go into wherever it is. I'm going to pause this because, no, I'll keep going. I'll use somebody else's. For now, I'm just going to pick a random document because I don't actually have a signed one. just so I can show how that process works, right? You can see that, and you would submit signed form. The fact that I just uploaded a random document shows you also why this does need to be manually approved. So you can see if you click I'm done, you go back into my participants, right? You can see submitted. So as long as that says submitted, until you hear otherwise, you can treat that athlete as good to go. Eventually, it should switch over to approved. It might go to pending additional forms, right? Somebody in our office is going to be taking a look and seeing, are there additional forms? Is there additional information that is necessary? Certain medical conditions, certain answers might trigger the need for additional follow up with a physician. But as long as it says submitted, know that that athlete is good to go. Somebody on our end would take a look at that and confirm, right? In this case, it would be rejected because I uploaded a random document, but you can see what that process looks like. If you have any questions or run into any issues with this, definitely reach out to your regional staff person. Otherwise, thank you for watching this walkthrough.